Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming in today's movie review. Today we're going to be reviewing actually a trilogy, and it's called The Omen. There are three movies to this trilogy. The Omen, Damien Omen 2, and Omen 3, The Final Conflict. Um, there are two other movies that were made for this that I've never watched. There was also a remake of the original that I've never watched. And apparently there was a TV series that I've never watched of this as well. Um, but as far as just the first three movies, they're a trilogy, um, and it's basically the story of the Antichrist. What if it's a what if story? I'll put it that way. It's a what if story about what if the Antichrist was born and how might his life go. That's kind of what this movie trilogy is about. This guy, um, they basically portray this child as having, let's just say, psychic abilities, um, and he uses those abilities for all the wrong reasons. Because of course he does. He's the Antichrist. But I mean, even just a regular person who might have such abilities to use them in the way that he did would be for literally all the wrong reasons. Um, this is a horror series, and I don't normally watch horror movies, and that's because I don't like blood, gore. I don't like having nightmares, and a lot of horror movies would give me nightmares, so I avoid that. But the reason I like this particular horror trilogy, um, is because most of it isn't blood and gore and horror. Most of it is theological. It's psychological. It's more of a thriller than a horror. Um, and it makes you think. I mean, what if the Antichrist did get born? What would that look like? Uh, it's a fun concept to play around with, is what I'm getting at. And this show showed me a way to do that, to conceptualize the possibility of something like that occurring. Doesn't have to be that he's the Antichrist. It could just be people evolve, and as we evolve, things happen. So what would happen if somebody with these kind of psychic abilities existed? How would they live their life? What would they do? Um, how would it affect their growth through childhood? They're all very. It was done very well. It really was. Um, I'm not going to say it's the best writing in the world because it's not. But it's a hard concept to convey. First off, so I mean, who's going to really be able to pull off a masterpiece with this type of content, or the premise for which this was based on? But I think they did a good job with it. I mean, um, it's not what I would call necessarily believable, but it's not meant to be believable. I think it was meant to just make people think, consider that the possibilities are endless in that respect. Um, I tried looking for a review on this series, and while there is a 2006 remake, which surprisingly gets some good reviews, and it gets some bad ones too, don't get me wrong. Um, the best thing that I could find or a review of this particular trilogy. The guy who wrote this one didn't even like the remake. Um, the original has some decent acting in it. I mean, it's a low budget film, obviously. I mean, most horrors back then were. Um, but some of the actors that are in it um, are pretty decent actors. They really are. Um, you've seen them. A couple of them were like TV actors at the time. Some of them were like older actors from movies. So they did a decent job with the casting of these shows. And like I said, it's a hard topic to talk about. It's a hard topic to convey. But I think these films did a good job of laying a foundation in that respect, or are giving you a perspective, and then telling that story. And they did a good job of that. Like I said, the story itself is pretty basic, but it does a good job of at least, for me anyway, it made me think about a lot of things. Um, got me to asking a lot of questions, and even reading. I read a few things after watching this movie way back then, just to kind of get an idea where the writer was coming from. Um, so that's my review of the Omen trilogy. It's a good trilogy. I think you'd enjoy it if you watched it. There's scenes within these movies that I have never actually seen because, like I said, I don't like horror movies, so I'll just close my eyes or leave the room. And like I said, most of the story is a thriller. It's a mental horror, not gore and stuff on the screen. And it's just designed to make you think, ask questions, look stuff up. So that's my review of the Omen trilogy, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.